anyone ever watched the Mighty Ducks movie? Yeah? And everyone cheers for the Mighty Ducks. I cheer for the Hawks. I like the Hawks. Because they say, it's not worth winning if you can't win big.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
I'm not yet.
Okay. So for section number 2, we're going to talk about organizing your calendar for business success. Organizing your calendar for business success. Watch your business best. Thanks, sir. Someone said, are you sure about minimizing expenses? I'm sure. And this is going to be a very, very difficult one for most business owners to make the shift from, because it has been ingrained in your life since you were a kid to minimize expenses, minimize expenses, minimize expenses. You've heard it over and over and over again.
Get the best deal.
But if you want to grow your business, you're not going to be as concerned about minimizing your expenses as trying to increase your revenue and buy back time. Because eventually you're going to get more work than you can ever possibly do yourself. There is no chance I could ever possibly do all the work at Spurrell and Associates myself. It would be a very bad experience if I tried to do that myself, for myself and my customers. So minimizing expenses isn't the answer. You know, if I can spend $1 and make $2, I'm going to keep spending that $1 over and over and over again. You know, there's a reason why I have a free business boot camp here. I'm giving away $100 bills. I have 6 or 7 staff that I'm paying to be here. I ran $1,000 of Facebook ads to get people into the room. Most people can't make those decisions because they're either they can't get over that leap that you're probably going to have to spend some money to generate some business, and they might not be comfortable enough with their numbers to know if what they're spending is actually going to produce results. But you know, that's kind of the key, is you only have 168 hours in the week. If you can buy back time for cheaper than what you're worth, do it. And if you can spend $1 to make $2, keep doing it. And keep doing it over and over and over. Do it with reckless abandon if you can do it. But just know those numbers first. So yeah, it should be unnatural. It should 100% be unnatural, because you went the first 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life being told the opposite. And if you are not a business owner, you should be doing the opposite. But if you're a business owner, there are a plethora of opportunities that you know, expense minimization is not going to be the answer. You know, we have a lot of business owners, they'll come in and they'll want to talk about their cell phone bill. I love the cell phone bill. I pick on the cell phone bill all the time. And they say, hey, I'm paying this much for my cell phone bill lines. And I'll tell them, and I'm thinking in my head, that's what you want to focus on in this meeting, is your cell phone bill? It's like, TELUS could pay you $1,000 a month to operate your cell phone. You're still going bankrupt. So expense minimization is not always the answer. We'll go through how to organize that. But yeah. So what are the most effective ways to advertise your product or service? If you have one opportunity and you have to put all your eggs in one basket, we're going to go through a huge marketing system here. And if you have one opportunity, there is not a single payback or time, you know, something that's better for your time than Google reviews. Not Facebook reviews, not Yelp reviews. I'm not confused. I know they exist. It is Google reviews. It will be, I would imagine, for every business in here, whether you are taking dogs for walks, or selling houses, or having fitness, you know, fitness lessons. You know, it's Google reviews will be so much better than every other thing that you can do, and it's free. There's Google reviews would be number one, and Google would be it. Like, yeah.
Why? Is that for like SEO, or is that just because lots of people are constantly going to Google to see people's reviews?
Both. Yeah, we'll go through the exact metrics in that too, but it's for sure like in the advertising section. We'll tie it in with the how to get to the top of Google. It's one of them. You can't. But when people need something, they go to Google. There's a reason why, like, I put Facebook ads to do my business bootcamp, but I'll never run a single Facebook ad for if you want accounting service. Those ads are somewhere else. Google reviews, number one. Google, your website, number two. And it's so far out in front that we view them as a foundation of your marketing. We'll show you why in the marketing section, but that's the short end of it. It's like, if I was telling you this talk in 1995, I'd be telling you the yellow pages, use the yellow pages. You've replaced it with Google.
It's just Google.
Not the Better Business Bureau guys. Just trying to hijack your money. They do nothing these days. Nobody cares. Nobody's even going to find your Better Business Bureau rating if you have 100 Google reviews. They're not even going to find you.
That's true.
Whether they'll carry it out, who knows. When should you start delegating? As soon as you can afford it. As soon as you can afford to actually hire that person on. I started my accounting practice 2011, and I thought I would operate for the first year by myself. That was the goal. I was going to operate for my first year by myself, and I made it like 7 months before I hired Denise. I didn't realize all the work all the admin work that ran into accounting practice. I knew how to do complex returns. I knew how to assemble financial statements. I had no idea how to get the e-file number or get the e-file clearance sheet. Like, I had never had to do that before. I sent it off to a magical admin department. You know how much time it takes to get all of your stuff on letterhead. Just little things, administrative things that are sucking your time away. You're going to grossly underestimate how much it is. So your goal is to get to a financial position that you have enough cash in the bank that, depending on the business you're in, you can float out that salary for, let's call it 1 to 3 months. You should start delegating. And writing systems are better. We'll get into writing systems and checklists are better. But one of the power moves is I rarely do anything without someone shadowing me. Like, I will literally talk someone through something even though I can do it in half the time if I do it myself. But if I do it in half the time myself, I gotta do it again myself next time. So one of the power moves is as soon as you have someone, teach them, keep teaching them over and over and over again exactly what you're doing. So every time you're doing anything in your business, be teaching someone else how to do it. So as soon as you can afford it, if you're looking to scale your business, as soon as you know I can meet that payroll this month or next month, that's the time. Because I guarantee there's something else that you can be doing to expand your customer base. That's kind of the goal. Does that make sense on that one? Okay. How you know your company? Oh, okay.
What was the question?
How do you know your company is not good? If you don't like coming into work every morning after morning after morning after morning, it almost doesn't matter if you're making a little bit or if you're making a lot. Obviously you got to have enough to pay the bills, but if you don't enjoy it, maybe that's one of them. I'm gonna search for a bit of a quote, one of the ones that I like. I'm going to give it to you. I think it kind of touches on this. It's a Michael Gerber quote. It says, "The work we do is a reflection of who we are. If we're sloppy at it, it's because we're sloppy inside. If we're late at it, it's because we're late inside. If we're bored by it, it's because we're bored inside with ourselves, not with our work. The most menial work can be a piece of art when done by an artist. So the job here is not outside ourselves, but inside ourselves. How do we work? How our work becomes a mirror of how we are inside. So even the hardest things, if done with, hard or menial things, if done with excellence, can feel good while you're doing them. But how do you know your company is not good is if you can never, get that satisfaction from doing them. If you're no longer, probably the easiest way to the top is just stop trying to be good and start trying to be the best at it, whatever you're doing. Stop trying to run a good business. I'm trying to run a good business. Everyone tells you run a good business. It's socially acceptable to run a good business. Just one of the switches that I've slowly been doing is I'm a pretty competitive person by nature. Anyone knows me, going back even a little farther, it's even more so competitive. But one of the things I tell you is that dial that down. Like, no, keep that cranked up to an 11 and just keep it there forever. Whatever you're doing, you're trying to sell houses, you're trying to install garage doors, you're trying to be an electrician, be the best. Stop trying to be good at it. Start trying to, anyone ever watch the Mighty Ducks movie? Yeah? And everyone cheers for the Mighty Ducks. I cheer for the Hawks. I like the Hawks. Because they say, it's not worth winning if you can't win big. So, you want to have that sort of intensity. You want to be the best at what you're doing. It'll get exciting. I don't care what you're trying to do. You could be washing windows. It'll get exciting if you're trying to be the best window washing company. And your employees will get excited by it too. Hopefully that answers that question. That's kind of a big question. How do you interview 100 people for one good hire? I can't do this in the question. I have a whole section on it. So I'll give you the whole section on that one. Okay, so we are into section number 2. Thanks so much for those questions. We want them coming in because some of the best stuff will come out from those questions. So